Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Harmony and Humanity podcast, where we're all about highlighting the common ground that we all share, inspiring conversations that lead to real world harmony and understanding. Your hosts are, oh my gosh, I've got the sound coming through on my thing. 1 second. I've got to mute the tab before I start. I always forget to do that. Goodness me. Now, we don't have Dr. Lino Martinez with us today because I believe he's on a lovely trip, which is lovely, but we have Amethysta Herrick. Hello, Amethysta.
Hello, Jasmine.
And also Jasmine, hello. So normally we have 3 people here, but we are 2 today. And we are combining science, spirituality, and lived experience, all with the purpose of showing that we have much more in common than what separates us. In today's live stream, we're kind of playing it by ear a little bit. We've got a little bit of a topic, but we don't have a massive, subset of dot points that we're going to cover or anything in particular. So as per usual, come and hang out with us. Like, have fun. You have the ability to drive the discussion any way that you want. So get involved in the chat, ask any questions, and let's make this interactive. If you're catching the replay, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. But otherwise, let's get into it. So Amethysta, being transgender, can't we all just get along? Amethysta came up with this title. What does it mean for you?
What does it mean? Oh my gosh. I know that, so you and I had a conversation, it was not even all that long ago, about, when you try to play nice with some people, when you try to play nice with, people who are giving you a hard time in particular. So they go, they say, you should do these things, you should do these things, and you're not, you engage with them. I know that you had said that there were people who have criticized you for that and said, don't even engage with these people, don't be nice to these people. But I think it's a good idea. I think it's a great idea to engage with people.
The greatest idea, the best. Never been a better idea.
Never. Well, because it's yours, right? But right? But I know that there are some people who just they don't want to engage, and I think it's a problem. I mean, I think that the best way for us to establish, do I want to say normalcy, is to appear at least willing to talk. What do you think about that?
I think it depends, because there are also a lot of people that are just like, leave me the hell alone. I don't want to be waving the trans flag while I'm going to get my groceries. Like, they really just want to live a life where they're comfortable and at peace with themselves. So for those people, I can understand where that frustration would come from, because they didn't choose to be born in the body that they did. They're not choosing to be transgender. And so I can understand being quite frustrated about that. I don't know. But at the same time, to get widespread acceptance, I think there does need to be people who are willing to be open and have those conversations and, answer questions without jumping down people's throat, being, too angry or defensive and things like that.
Right.
But I don't think that responsibility should fall onto every trans person either.
I agree with that. So why do you do it then? Because one of the original conversations was that you were engaging with people, you were trying to be kind to people, and you had gotten criticism. You took some heat for actually engaging with some people who looked like they were just being, jerky people. So why do you do it?
Someone's got to do it. I feel like, okay, there's a saying. What's the saying? I feel like there's a saying around this, that the person with the highest level of emotional capacity has the responsibility. What do you know what the saying is that I'm trying to, it's not exactly what I'm thinking.
I don't know the saying, but but I can see how that would be how it would be a good one. That yeah, the person most capable of being able to do this, it would make sense for that person to be the leader. And
Oh, does somebody in the chat have the same? No.
no,
I just saw some of the chat things.
yeah.
God.
Well, let me say first hi to Morgan and Zoe. Hey. Zoe brings up a good point. While you're looking for it, because I think it actually leads into what you were saying, which is Zoe says that she doesn't mind talking about it with people, but also doesn't always like needing to be a walking knowledge bank. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. As far as why should I agree that we shouldn't have to do this? That it shouldn't be something that is thrust upon us. And for what it's worth, when I first came out to one of my friends, somebody said, "Oh, that's cool because you're like, a manager. You've taught university classes. You're going to be a great representative of the transgender community." And I was like, "What do you mean representative?" I'm like, I'm just transitioning. Like, let's not go overboard." And she goes, "Oh, no. As soon as you do this, you become a representative." This was a cisgender woman, by the way. She said, "No, as soon as you do this, you're a representative." And I was like, I don't want to be. I just want to be me. And I agree with Zoe.
I feel like a lot of people are thrust into that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. They become the token trans at their university or, wherever they are.
Yep. I mean,
Yeah.
I imagine both you and I have done. I mean, anytime I've taken up responsibility, it has always because it's been somewhat thrust upon me. I didn't really want to pick up a responsibility. I just did because nobody else would. As you just said, well, somebody's got to do it. Yes, true. Somebody does have to do it. And that has usually been how I end up with responsibility. Not because I want to be a leader.
What's really annoying is I've not been able to find that quote I was talking about, but I think it's in relation to self-awareness, that the person with the highest level of self-awareness has the responsibility to behave in a certain bloody way.
Yeah.
And that when I am faced with hate comments and I recognize that the person is dysregulated and they're just throwing crap at me for whatever reason, I have the ability to regulate myself and step away from that and to respond with kindness and compassion rather than blowing up in their bloody face about it. And consequently, I feel like that is my responsibility to do that. It's like I hate to make this comparison. I'm sorry to all the haters out there, but if I was dealing with a tantruming kid, I have more ability to emotionally regulate and to make sense of things and to calm the situation down than the kid does. That kid shouldn't have the responsibility to do that in that scenario. Slightly different sort of thing, but you get what I mean. And so I feel it's my responsibility to take that on board and to help regulate that kid at that time, because otherwise, if I just scream back at them like, you throw the lollipop, blah, 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 it's not going to help anyone.
I've seen parents do that, though. Right?
Usually on purpose because they're so fed up.
Right.
Oh, dear.
So is that what you were talking about? I mean, the people, because I didn't read the criticism that you got. Is that what you because the criticism, from what I recall, as you said, the criticism was that you were being too nice. You were being too nice to the normals. Is how I said it earlier. Should you want to do the normal bit?
Yes. What is normal? Oh
Right?
dear. Can someone put in the chat what is normal? Like let us know. I want to just get a feel for the room.
Because you get 50 to 100 characters? That should be pretty easy. 50 to 100 characters, what is normal?
Oh, Morgan has to drop off soon. That's okay. Zoe felt like that a bit at my old work. Yes, the token trans.
See, that's interesting. I haven't
The
had that. So sorry, go ahead.
no.
Oh, the token? No, because
Mm.
I retired. I retired.
Ah, yes.
I got out of technology just as I was transitioning, and it was kind of on purpose
Mm.
because I was like, I don't want to be in technology while I'm transitioning. Like I might go back
Mm.
now, maybe, but I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to. I really wouldn't want to. So I think partly because of that, because I wouldn't want to be. They'd be like, oh, well, you have to be on the DEI
Mm.
committee and all the other happy crap. Like, because I wouldn't want to do that. Because I'm just like, look, I'm just me.
Yeah.
You know. As a quick example, my wife, my wife is a chemist too. So she has a PhD in chemistry as well. And there were, she was approached when she was going to graduate school to, I think, to apply for grants that had to do with women
Mm.
in chemistry. And I remember we had this conversation, and she's like, no effing way. Because I'm not a woman in chemistry, I am a
Mm.
chemist. And I was like, I totally respect that.
Yeah.
Hey, Raven. This so says Alexandria Tempest. That is Raven, a new friend of mine named
Oh, it's
Raven. Yeah, we just met
fun,
today.
Raven.
Like we literally just met on video chat. So hi, Raven.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Oh, she's a great
Raven is one of
person.
my favorite characters from the 100. Ah,
There you go.
that's totally.
A
Mm.
great bird as well, I guess. I don't know, but
Yes, yes.
so
Very nice associations with the name.
yes. All right. So moving on. What else? I mean, you had you were gonna say something when I said I was never a token the token transgender person in the room.
Mm. Oh, just around the whole like being too nice to people that are being grumpy. I view it in the same way as that example with the kid. I was like, if someone were to criticize me for talking calmly to a child, like trying to get them to calm down when they're
Yeah.
screaming and trying to bite me, if they were to criticize me for that, I'd be like, okay, like, I don't really respect that opinion very much, to be
Right.
honest. Mm.
Right.
Whereas it seems like, when it's not a tantruming child, when it's a someone spreading transphobic rhetoric, yada yada, you're expected to try to slap and bite them at the same time. You're expected to fight back. And I don't think that's a very effective way of creating change. And it certainly doesn't change that person's mind. It doesn't calm them down. It doesn't regulate them.
No.
It's honestly, for the most part, counterintuitive.
Counterproductive, even I would say, as well.
Yeah.
I
It can
know
be.
it is weird. Oh, Margie's here. Hey, Margie, and hey, Bobby. This is a
Hello.
good point. Bobby says, my responsibility is just to be me. Since I
Mm.
transitioned, the only question I have asked is what's non binary, or have been asked, I think. I've been asked is what's non
Mm.
binary. I agree. So I don't think we should have to be representatives of the
No.
community. I will say this though, I do think we have a responsibility, and this is every human all the time, to be
Mm.
cordial, to be considerate, and to listen, and I mean just to
Mm.
be, what I would call like a decent human being, which is, probably the because what's decent, right? But I think we have a responsibility
Mm.
for that, personally. You're thinking on this.
Yeah, I have a weird relationship with the word responsibility because, I mean, that comment's exactly right. Like what Bobby said, we don't have a responsibility for anything other than to look after ourselves and move through our lives authentically as us. Like that's my responsibility is to make sure that I'm eating and I'm going to the bathroom, doing all the human things, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So anything beyond that, it's an elective. We're electing to do that. But in saying that, I feel like sometimes we can have better results in life with certain things if we view certain things as our responsibility. So for me personally, it's not my responsibility to show kindness and compassion to people, especially if they're throwing crap at me, but I still view it as my responsibility to do that. Because for me, being consistent with who I am is showing kindness and compassion no matter what.
Yeah.
That's who I am, and I'm not going to let other people change my interactions because of how they are or what they think or feel or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Does that make sense?
Oh, it totally does. Yeah. Yeah. It totally does. I mean, I hear what you're saying. You know, we responsibility, and I guess all I'm saying is that we, all of us, give me 1 second so that I can eject this person here from the chat.
Oh, we've got some lovely. Oh, nice.
You think so?
Okay. We haven't had that on this yet. How lovely.
Yeah, and
It's because Lino's not here. We don't have the high vibe barrier.
Right. So give me 1 second to get to this so that I can dump this person. But
you know what, though? I just want to say quickly, I was talking to a trans woman the other day who I've interviewed on the podcast, and she made a really good point that the trans people she knows in her life, most of them follow what she views to be the way of God. Most of them follow the way of God more than bloody half the Christians that she'd see at church.
Wow.
Well, I don't know if that was the wording, but showing kindness and compassion, you know, loving thy neighbor, yada, yada. Like, she had all these things, and she's like, I see trans people do that more often than, like, most cis Christians.
Of course. Oh, my gosh, yes. Well, yes. Because we kind of have to. And I don't know, incidentally, if Anonymous Angel 3 is still listening to what Jasmine just said, that a good Christian would not be a shitball and just put mean comments into chat. But I also want to point out some of the things that you're quoting here, Leviticus 18:22 in particular. That's a newer translation. And in fact, what you've got there in Romans that says homosexuality originally referred to child molestation. So, you know, think about that there, Anonymous Angel 3. Leviticus there also mentions, you've mentioned Deuteronomy. That's also in Leviticus 18. Or I think it's Leviticus 17. That actually speaks about property rights. So you can pull quotes out of almost anything and make it seem like it means something, but your Christianity is shoddy. You clearly do not know what these quotes even mean, because if you would look at them in context, you would see these are not proof against any LGBTQ activities. So thank you, Anonymous Angel 3, for playing along, but you failed.
Oh, goodness me.
Sucks when people, you know, rile me up, but like throw in biblical quotes. It doesn't do anything.
But see, that's kind of an example of what I was saying before. And yeah, they're still responding. But an example of what I was saying before is I never want to let somebody else cause me to behave in a way that I'm not proud of.
Yeah.
So for me, if I were to respond back and be like, you horrible person, screw you, blah, 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 that wouldn't be me. And so I would be reacting to somebody else's crap, which I don't want to do. So send them love. Thank you. Cool.
Right. Well, ditch you too.
Are we missing some comments?
Yeah, there's more other things here.
Considered to align with the socially accepted standard for a particular thing, for the definition of normal. Yeah, align with the socially accepted standard for a particular thing. Okay.
Where were we?
Unmistakably.
What were we just looking at? Sorry, there's too many, lame comments here.
Oh, sorry, I'm just catching up with the ones from
So
Bowie and Ms. Margarita Fancy Pants.
Right. Just a quick aside here. Anonymous Angel 1 has said, if you go to the Hebrew text, it's not referring to child or pedophilia, literally referring to a man. Untrue. So, It was really in 1948, I believe it was, that the first translation changed that. And in fact, there's somebody who made a documentary about that. And somebody went back to Martin Luther's actual German translation, which would have been from the Latin, which would have been from the Hebrew, and it did not say homosexuality. So, but I'm gonna throw this out. Unfortunately, I can't just delete it from the rest of this stream. But yeah.
Oh, that's a bugger.
Yeah, Morgan does say for the person quoting the Bible, it also says not to judge others. What a perfect point. Let he who is without sin be the first, or cast the first stone. Judge not, lest you be judged. So you're really shooting yourself in the foot. That's not angelic. All right. Authenticity matters so much, says Margie.
Yeah. That kind of thing, like, it's not even worth really having the conversation about, because it's so, I don't know, it's so low level and it's not nearly important.
Wait, what do you mean?
We focus on more important things, like the perception of normality.
Mm.
I think what Zoe put in is an interesting definition for that. Something that is considered to align with the socially accepted standard for a particular thing. Because my question with normality, like what's considered normal as well, is it the prevalence of a particular subset of person, like how prevalent that subset is? Because if that were the case, I don't know. Winter said something the other day around, like, if we're looking at the average person based on population size across the entire world, then normal would be considered like a middle-aged Asian man, basically.
It's a good point.
I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah. I think of normal. Do you want to hear my definition? Sorry, I suppose I should have asked, but
Go ahead.
So normal plays into social norms. I mean, it's because it is contextual, right? I mean, what normal where, normal when? That's an important important context, to establish. When we talk about social norms, because let's go back to like feudal England. All right, if you look at feudal England, it was absolutely normal for the king to have been believed, to have some sort of divine right. When like nobility was a different kind of human, and in particular, kings could elevate normal humans into this nobility. You became a peer, and it was an actual, like, it was like a shift in actual humanity. But there was only one king, and the nobility was far outstripped by people who were feudal serfs. So I guess where I'm going with this is that was a social norm. That was a belief that the nobility was in some way better than than the commoners. But that doesn't mean that it's accurate. So what is normal? I mean, I would only say that it's what a majority of people believe should be normal within context of that social environment, time and space, and doesn't mean that they exemplify it, but they believe it should be normal. So there's my extremely cagey definition. That was pretty cagey.
Do the majority of people have to believe that that is normal?
That it should be normal is what I'm saying. That's what a social norm is, though, right? And again, I don't think you have to exemplify it.
What do you mean by that?
When I was growing up, Christianity was in the United States, sorry. And this was in the late 1700s, for everybody out there, it was the late 1700s. When I was growing up, Jasmine's clearly doing something else because she didn't take laugh at
I'm
my
looking
shitty
for.
joke. Okay.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking
No,
for
no,
a
no, no.
comment that actually prompted this whole idea around normal.
Okay. When I was growing up though, Christianity was the majority religion in the United States.
Mm. Isn't it still?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, it isn't.
Thought it was.
It started being a minority. Well, it might be a plurality now, but it is not a majority. So majority means more than
Mm.
50%. Plurality just means the biggest one. And I
Oh,
believe
okay.
there are about an equal amount of people who identify as Christians as identify as atheists, or at least, not Christian, or not identifying with any religion. So my point on that is to say that when I was growing up, it was normal. I would say that it was a social norm. Or sorry, it was common for people actually to be Christian. Today, it's still a norm that you should have Christian values, but most people are not Christian. Did that explain what I meant when I say that it doesn't take actual you don't have to be an example of what you consider normal. And in fact, I'll give you a better example. Here's a better example. Why do we well, you're a bad example, but why do I'm a bad example too, come to think of it, but most people feel gender dysphoria because we think we're wrong. And in fact, I actually published a video today saying it's not our desire to be different. It's not our knowledge of what we find valuable in terms of behavior and presentation. It's that social norms tell us we shouldn't do that. That's what causes gender dysphoria. It's not us, because valuing something is completely amoral. There's no ethics involved in, I judge something as valuable. So there's no politics anyway. I may have to go back on whether there's ethics involved. Point being, though, that almost everybody in the transgender community looks deep inside and goes, there's something wrong with me. So we believe this social norm, but we don't exemplify it. That's why it hurts.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Okay. I need a second to process that.
I will focus on you then as you think about it, right?
Oh my gosh. Well, I just because that speaks to something that I was writing the other day. I wanted to create a little Substack thing about it. Actually, where's my comment? No. Maybe I'm on the wrong thing.
Oh. Do you want me to read some comments then?
Yes, please
Okay.
do.
All right. Because here we go. We also have Margie said, where did you say this? Margie, I love being unmistakably me and being good and caring about those around me. Agreed, Margie. I wish Anonymous Angel could have followed that as well. Margie also says authenticity matters so much. And Morgan confirms that, it's such a joy to live authentically. And I totally totally agree. And you know what I think that means? When you live authentically, you have stopped believing that the social norm should necessarily apply to you. You've decided you won't be an example of the social norm, and you're okay with that. And I think that's beautiful, personally. I wish, Margie, I knew this poet, or maybe a singer, Luba. Do you know Luba? Are you familiar with Luba, Jasmine?
No.
Okay. Then I don't feel so bad. I said, are we about to get into a TikTok dance, I think? A Luba Luba?
A Luba? Who's a Luba? A Hooba? I don't know.
Did you find the comment?
I did.
Okay.
I did, actually.
Tell me the comment.
Okay. Oh. Now, I was in a very inquisitive mood, if that's the right word. I don't know. You're my dictionary, Amethysta. Did I tell you I'm like a raccoon who's had too much fairy floss? I write down some of the words that you say sometimes because you're a thesaurus at times, and I have to go, what does that mean? Because you come out with all these interesting words I haven't heard of.
Thank
I
you.
put them into a notebook to use for my Toastmasters group as a grammarian. Have I told you that?
No.
Well, there you go.
I'm trying to
Made
figure
a
out
nice
if I should be happy about that or not, but I'm
I'm
not sure.
happy about it. I love hearing new words.
So Luba, it turns out, Margie
Anyway.
says Luba's a pop singer from Montreal. So
Okay.
she quoted "Let It Go" from 1982. There you go.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, read your comment.
To give a little summary first, so I posted a video on Instagram where I spoke about my experience with finding out that my breasticles all up on my chesticles were larger than I thought they were,
Sure.
and I had to go and get like a larger bra. This person commented on the video saying it's not natural if you needed surgery or outside help. And somebody said puberty is a natural process that includes boob growth. And this person has gone, in biological females only, unless a man has gynecomastia. Remember, females actually develop mammary glands, and an excess of fat in your chest that looks like breasts is not actually having breasts. Definitions exist for a reason, and there's a difference between different words. And there was like a whole comment chain between this person and another person arguing about yada, yada, yada. And what did I say? Oversimplifying biology is attractive to those who require clarity and certainty. I typically make it a practice to simply not comment on things I don't have a deep understanding of. From the sounds of it, you're certainly not a biologist, so there's no productive conversation to be had here. Your position's been made clear, so I suggest shifting your attention to things that actually add something productive to your life. That's my kind of general response, is shift to something that actually betters your life or others or feels productive.
Yeah.
Anyway, it got me thinking, and I was doing some little bits of research and whatnot. I'll just read this out for the context. For anyone who reads this, interesting fact, the etymology of the word mammal actually links back to mammary glands, and males are mammals and by definition have mammary glands, though there are some exceptions to that. There are exceptions observed in other species like male marsupials, for example, do not have mammary glands. And it's interesting how the more we get into biology, the more blurry the lines become. To uphold our rudimentary understandings, we like to call things that don't fit into our definitions abnormalities or deformities. Yet the presence of intersex conditions, for example, are as common as people with red hair or blue eyes. When we look at these as deformities rather than simple natural variation in biology, we try to fix deformities, and then you get into the whole space of problematic things like ethnic cleansing and eugenics and all that kind of stuff. Purifying the bloodline, all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So humans have always had trouble with the acceptance of differences as natural variants, and we like to try to define and categorize, then view the things that fall out of those categories as abnormal. Yet we fail to understand what normal is. And I called it a biopsychosocial phenomena because I feel like it kind of is. I was really getting into this. This is just like a comment back that I had no intention to go back and forth with this person. I was just like, it's just interesting. It's whatever. The only thing we can consistently define is the unexpected broadness of the human existence. we do our best, but the world is much more complex and confusing than we have the intellectual capacity of even grasping. Suffice to say, it's a super interesting space to delve into and discuss, but only when we look at the crazy nature of it together, not using our limited understandings to condemn one another with an I'm right, you're wrong attitude. Because the reality is, none of us know enough to be able to definitively and accurately even make that assertion. And so, okay, I need to go do things on my task list now. I'm just procrastinating at this point.
Nice. I want to, can I respond to one bit? Sorry, are you asking me, do I have a thought? Yeah. Here's my first thought. The person started with definitions exist for a reason. Agreed. The definition of female does not include mammary glands. So, like right off the bat, I would go, great, you had already said you're clearly not a biologist. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to agree with that. If what this person wants to do is redefine female, like live it up, but that doesn't mean that it's accurate. So just
that is a very good point, because there are male and female plants, none of which have mammary glands.
Correct.
The only creature that has mammary glands are mammals.
Yes, right. Female,
oh, gosh.
well, I mean, which is, why the definition is necessarily vague, because the definition goes across all species, all of nature, and that's on purpose. That's what scientists do. When you're going to make a theory, you make a theory that actually explains everything. The theory of relativity, it describes two moving frames of reference moving relative to each other, and how they interact with each other. Theory of gravity, it describes matter, two pieces of matter in relationship to each other, but we've found that these are theories because they do indeed describe everything. And then when you get to the quantum level, Newtonian mechanics falls apart, but not the point. Scientists do our best to make sure that when we make a definition, it's solid. And sometimes that means you get a definition that seems very, very useless. But female does not mean humans having breasts or having mammary glands, I suppose. And incidentally, yes. I will say too, there are transgender women who have developed mammary glands. Apparently, I can't even say it. Who have developed mammary glands, like breastfed children. So apparently the guy is wrong, even just by observation. So
no, you know what? He would argue that it's the unnatural intervention. If a human male has developed mammary glands, then it's unnatural if it's come from HRT or something like that. That's what he's saying.
Right.
That's why gynecomastia in this person's mind is natural, because it happens without external intervention.
Sure. You know what also happens without external intervention?
What?
Starvation, dehydration, death, freezing to death. I mean, hypothermia. I mean, it's ridiculous to say, well, this is unnatural, because I think it should be unnatural. I mean, in which case, stop eating food. Why are you eating food? Did you put on makeup? Did you put on clothes? Those aren't natural. You don't find, there's no tree with, nylon stockings. Do they still make nylon stockings?
I must say, I am appalled to have not read that comment off of a stone tablet. Absolutely appalled.
Well, right. Otherwise, it would be
unnatural means of communication.
Yes. So here you go, by the way. Just to say, so Margie also mentions she has actual breasts, according to the Goldfarb Breastfeeding Clinic. And you'd think those people would know something. It's in the name. I don't know. So Morgan makes a good comment, because we'll try to reel it in a little bit here. I think Lena would have kept us a little bit more in line,
Oh, maybe.
Don't you think so?
Maybe.
But so Morgan says, I think when others say hateful or hurtful things toward others, it says, sorry, Morgan, it says way
It says
more
way more
about
about them.
and the things they need to work on than us. It helps me remember to have a bit of compassion when responding, which is a perfect point. This is why I think we bear a little bit of responsibility to at least to respond in a way that's not going to make things worse. So,
Oh my
Raven
gosh,
makes
is that the quote? Responsibility is the ability to respond rather than react. I think that's where my mind was at the beginning of this.
was that
Was that quote?
is that I know I've read that. That's not Viktor Frankl. I think that's
It might be.
Stephen
Oh.
Covey. I think it's Stephen Covey.
Actually, it does sound very Stephen Covey. Yeah.
I think it might be, but
But yes, our ability to respond, if you have the ability to respond rather than react, then that's your responsibility.
oh, I
So I
see.
think it's very interesting.
Yeah, that's good.
Anyway, sorry. That just reminded me. Thank you.
Oh, it's perfect.
Who sparked that?
So Raven says, I think one of the issues is that people are trying to define what others are experiencing. Yeah, telling me how I feel and what I feel only serves to erase my actual experience. I think what's interesting there too, I don't know that it erases your experience. It certainly diminishes it and dismisses it. And I guess I'm always kind of curious, like, what in the world? Like, why would somebody even consider that? Why would somebody go, I was actually talking to my wife about this, I think it was last night, that it was, she was talking about psychologists, and psychologists were saying that, oh, I know what it was. It was about trauma, that they had started redefining trauma after just before World War One. They had started studying it and then started changing what they were going to do, how they would think about trauma. And what it ultimately did was, I think of, like, you get a doctor who just goes, oh, well, your problem is such and such. And they give you a prescription. And then you come back and you go, I don't feel very well. And they go, I gave you a prescription. You're supposed to be better. And you go, yeah, but I'm the patient. Like, I'm the patient. I should know this. And so I think what Raven is mentioning here, I think, comes because of the way that we've assumed that experts are necessarily experts. That we go, oh, well, if you have somebody who has a PhD or an MD, then this person knows and I don't. Period. And, if it's not obvious, I disagree with that. Give me 1 second. I got to dump somebody yet again. But
I've just noticed. How many accounts do they have? Or is it like a group of anonymous angels?
I don't know.
Goodness gracious.
The other, where's Anonymous Angel 4? The funny thing is I can't find it. Did somebody already report?
Anonymous Angel 0, Anonymous Angel 1, Anonymous...
1?
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. Somebody else, maybe somebody else did that. I don't know.
Oh, what? I just did it. I just did it.
Oh, well, thank you.
How do you remove the person, though?
We could do report, hide user, and put user in timeout. Ooh, there we go. For 24 hours. Well, anyway, oh, sorry, I was going to go back to comments. That's what I was going to do.
Oh, can I read one comment?
Yeah, please do it.
There's actually a couple. So Zoe said, I often find myself writing down new words, talking with you in winter, which I find kind of funny. You can blame Amethyst for that. And this comment, humans like to organize things into nice, neat boxes. Life does not care for our made-up boxes and definitions.
Right.
That says everything right there.
It really does. Yeah. I mean, I love I love how one of the things we love to do, because this is my canonical example, right? I don't have anything red or blue in front of me, but
There's a blue store behind you.
that we good. But this is a purple bottle, and no, it isn't a purple bottle. This bottle reflects a different, a particular wavelength of light, yada yada. That's been defined by physicists to be called purple. But we look at this and we go, no, that is a purple bottle. Nature gives not one crap about humans' use of language, and we can, make up, pretend like we understand what the universe is doing, but that certainly doesn't mean anything. So I like what Zoe said. Yeah, life does not care for our made-up boxes and definitions. There you go.
And you know what? That reduces almost every conversation around it, around the trans experience in particular, to like an eye roll moment for me. Because if you're arguing about males can't have mammary glands and blah, blah, not only is it incorrect in the eyes of science, but also in the eyes of science, who fucking cares? It was my perspective. Who cares? It doesn't change anything about my life. Right. It doesn't change anything about how I feel or how I present in the world. It literally has no practical application to talk about.
Right.
So whenever there's something like that, it honestly drives me bonkers in the sense that it has no practical application. So I don't care to argue about it. I'm just going to go and live and do my thing.
Yeah. No, agreed.
Gracious.
Agreed. Raven, by the way, I don't know if Anonymous Angel is still out there, but Raven has said, you must really hate things like glasses and blood pressure medication or cancer drugs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, not Anonymous Angel. Sorry, that was the guy who was talking about natural stuff. Sorry about that. But Anonymous Angel may also be the same.
Yeah, true.
Who knows?
Sorry, Anonymous Angel. Oh, he's back again with an Anonymous Angel too.
Holy
isn't that nice?
Cats. I think actually just at this point, I think what we're looking at is just somebody who's making new accounts as we're on.
Yeah,
as we're on this. Like, I don't even know why, but like, why even bother? Why do you think?
But see, that's exactly the thing. It's like, who fucking cares? Who cares?
I think Zoe's got a great point. Zoe just said, "Yeah, I kind of wondered what happened to number 2." And I think actually what we're looking at here is absolutely number 2. Thank you. I'll be here all week. All week. Brilliant. No, it's terrible.
Far out.
Do I think it's that simple? The quick point or the quick answer to you, Anonymous Angel, what's your face? No, because I've made these accounts clearly because we're talking now, aren't we?
Perfect example of who cares. What's the practical application?
Yeah.
Okay. I know that a large portion or whatever, a portion of religious people think that I'm not going to get into God's kingdom. I don't fucking want in God's kingdom.
So here, you know what though? Because look, we started this off, we were saying, why can't we all get along? And I'm looking at a comment here that I think explained exactly like what we've been talking about. Anonymous Angel 2, and I'm going to read this flat out. Anonymous Angel 2 says, I only hate things that go against God's will. Hate. You would hate me?
I want to meet this Anonymous Angel. It sounds like I'd love to talk to them because they've clearly had a one-on-one connection with God. Like they know what God's will is and they've had a conversation with them. So I think that would be really interesting to pick their brains about that.
Yeah, bring them on your podcast.
Oh my God.
Bring them on your podcast.
I'm being a little bit sarcastic. It's a bit sarcastic because the point is no one knows.
Of course.
No one bloody knows. So it's not, I hate who's not conforming to God's will. You hate what's not conforming to your will based on what you have read that's been disseminated down over yonks. Yeah. It doesn't matter. It's not relevant. Just freaking love one another.
Yeah. And so here we go. Now we've got an anonymous angel 5. No, I don't hate the person. I hate the sin the person committing. No, you
Oh,
don't.
yes.
No, you don't. But this is, I mean, this is actually already, it's absolutely like, this is what we were going to talk about, right? Why can't we all get along? Here's the thing. We actually were trying to have a conversation, and somebody's just going to jump in and say, you are wrong. You are an abomination, right? You quoted Leviticus 18:22 with your little abomination bit. You're talking about hating things. You're talking about hating sin. We can't. This is not a conversation. What you want to do is just prove us wrong. And there's no proof in like a book that, in words that Moses was purported to have written 4,000 years ago. There's no conversation in that. Especially words that were purported to have been written 4,000 years ago, that have been translated through so many languages, that have been rewritten by the Fourth Ecumenical Council in the the was it 436 Third Ecumenical Council in 436. I mean, come on, man or woman. You're not changing minds. That's fine.
Well, yeah, it doesn't change minds.
No.
It's just, how do you wish to be? How do you wish to show up in the world?
Yeah.
What do you wish to cultivate within the world? Because guess what? If you focus on hate, you're cultivating more hate. And that's actually the crux of the matter.
Yes.
What we focus on grows. And so if we're focusing on all the things that we hate, we're going to see more of that, and we're going to cultivate that. If we want to see love, like, it's an away from value rather than a towards value.
Yeah.
So, Amethyst, just stop paying attention. I can see you're paying attention.
I am, because I'm trying to keep this guy from even posting anything.
Yeah.
So I finally, I muted that one.
Though, it's a good example, though, of what we're even talking about.
Just perfect. I know, it's almost like we paid a dude just to heckle us, but we didn't, I swear. Raven makes a really good point. The only thing this person has quoted is Old Testament. This person has not quoted Jesus, because, this person even says, are we going to make it to heaven by that logic? Are we saying that God hates nothing? Yeah, isn't that what the New Testament was? Isn't that what the Last Supper was supposed to be? That Jesus shed his blood for the remission of our sins? It always sucks when I start talking to somebody and have to pull out like my Lutheran catechism, that I have to pull out having read the Bible as literature in high school, so actually having to have read it for content and meaning.
Yeah.
Because many people don't, and they just go, hey, I got Leviticus 18:22 and you're an abomination. Yeah? What else? And then they go, I don't have anything else. Why? You didn't tell me this was going to be a test. And I go, You've changed no minds. You've changed no minds. You've planted no seeds. What you've sown is discord. And nobody even cares. That's the sad thing. Nobody cared, man.
If you want to plant seeds, focus on what you want.
Yeah.
And like, what actually is that? Because the only thing that I can even think to start to assume based on the comments is the eradication of certain types of people. Like, that's the only thing I can actually assume from that. So what do you actually want? Because for me, I want more love. I want more hope, more inspiration, more kindness, more compassion.
Right.
That's what I want. So that's what I'll put out there. And that's planting seeds.
Yes. Agreed.
Not telling people that God hates you. That's not planting any seeds. I'm sorry, but it's not.
Well, if anything, what it's planting is it's the knowledge that people like this absolutely hate us. I mean, because here we go. Now I'm looking at Anonymous Angel 7. If God hates nothing, why did he make hell? You have actually said to us, you hate us.
For 1 second.
Yeah, please do it.
Can somebody please volunteer to do moderation, so whenever these anonymous angels pop up, we can just get someone to remove them?
I'm
Is
doing
that
it,
okay?
but
I'm gonna.
Raven, I'm gonna
Okay,
add you as a moderator.
beautiful. Thank you. Because I don't want us to be distracted trying to, delete them.
Right,
Because there's only two
right.
of us.
I mean, we only have 5 minutes left, but
Oh my gosh. Okay, lovely. And so we'll do it too. We'll add her as a moderator as well. Why not?
yeah, do it. So,
Um,
but the topic was the topic that we were going to talk about because let's actually one of the last things that we were thinking about. Why can't we be better representatives of the transgender community?
yeah.
And I'm curious if I would say that we have been poor representatives here. Like, I'm curious, like, what do you think in our, because I've actually engaged this person a couple of times, right?
Hmm.
Is that a good or a bad representative of the transgender community?
Oh, let's debrief. Oh, how exciting.
Let's debrief.
Yes.
I'm wearing bikinis though. Actually, that's the
That's a thong. No.
stupid
Um,
joke. I know. Bye, Margie.
just, bye, Margie. I would like to hear our assessments of each other with that scenario. So, if the intention is to be a good representative of the trans community, first of all, what's a good representative? I feel like we need to define that first.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a good question. I don't know that I have the answer to that. I think I would say that a good representative is just somebody who can engage with this kind of thing and not go nuts. It's the ability to respond. Maybe I'd go back to what it was you were saying. So, what?
Yeah.
Oh, Morgan says
I'll
there's
try to-
being kind and then there's managing and enabling another discussion and somewhere in between. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I'm thinking a lot. Because that intention, yes, it's the ability to respond, but then how do we respond? Because I think with a lot of comments like that, we meet them with the same level of brick wallness of like, nope, you're wrong, I'm right, that kind of thing. And I wonder, is it good to still respond from that level, or should it just be shut down completely and not even responded to? I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts?
So I'm actually going to go back to what Morgan said, managing and enabling a discussion. Because I would say what this person's doing, I mean, in particular, this person, because now this person has said, I believe what we're doing is reinventing the Bible from what it actually says. I've spoken, I don't even want to care about that. When you have something that is designed only to be disruptive, that's not somebody who is coming in actually to have a discussion. All this
No.
person wants to do is disrupt. When you have so I believe that when you have somebody who says something and maybe it's ignorant, and you go, okay, I'm going to try to help somebody through ignorance, I think that's different from having to mute a total of 7 at this point, 7 accounts. Yes, for coming in just to piss all over what we're trying to do. And what we were trying to do was actually talk about how important it is to engage with people who want to be shitty to us. And here you are, sir, continuing to be shitty and shitty and shitty. If you had actually engaged, like, we would have had a conversation, we would have had a real discussion. I might have actually have invited you to come on the show. But what you've done is shut down discussion. So what do I think, Jasmine? I think there's trying to have a discussion outside of a real discussion, and I think those just need to be taken out. Can't do anything.
I think it really depends, because that kind of thing, like it's trolling, really.
Yes.
There's troll accounts. You don't have 7 accounts with the word anonymous in it if you're not just going out posting crap that you wouldn't say under your own name.
Right.
Like, that's a hallmark of a trolling account.
It is.
But I'm not saying that to be mean, to go, oh, they're trolling. I'm saying it because what's the reasoning behind that? Like, why would someone feel compelled to go and create 7 different trolling accounts in order just to wreak havoc on other people's streams and things like that? And look, there was one person I was engaging with on Instagram a little while ago who was very much, it was a trolling account. Like, MAGA hat on freaking Biden as the profile picture, like just stupid trolling nonsense. And I actually had a discussion with that person that led them to a totally different way of being, which was so interesting.
Sure.
And it wasn't any different to what I've been talking about in this stream, where it's like, meet with kindness, love, and compassion, and all of that, and appeal to the person's underlying values.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember exactly what I said. I should probably go and see if I can find the screenshots. But I basically said, I doubt that this is what you want to be spending your time on. I really highly doubt that you want to be spending your time seeking out trans content just to write you're a man on everyone's content. And I'm concerned for you. I'm concerned that if that's what you're spending your time doing, you're not actually meeting your values. You're not actually achieving any of your goals. Do you know what your goals are? Do you know what kind of person you want to be? What kind of energy you want to put out into the world? And we had this discussion that almost the whole time they're commenting back, blah, 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 like stuff like these anonymous angels. And then they got to a point where they're like, actually, you know what? Yeah, this isn't what I want to be doing. Like, this isn't the kind of person I want to be. I'm like, okay, great. What kind of person do you want to be?
Mm-hmm.
I want to be someone who's there for my family. I want to be someone who, people feel safe enough to be vulnerable with, and yada, yada. And I'm like, fucking awesome. Well, get off your trolling shit, go and delete those profiles, and go spend time with your family then. If that's what's actually important to you, do that.
Right.
And it doesn't come from a place of like, get a life, you stupid troll. Like, it doesn't come from that place. It comes from a place of genuine, like, I am concerned for this person. You're better than this. You are so much better than this.
That's awesome. I love that.
So I do think that can be turned around sometimes if you can appeal to why the heck are they doing it? Why are they actually doing that? And what is a more productive way for them to do that in their lives that is actually helpful to them?
Mm-hmm.
Have I missed comments?
Beautiful.
I feel like
Have you what?
I feel like I've missed a bunch of comments, but
Somehow we got an E in there. I'm not really sure what the E is. And so we have estrogen is great. Yeah, estrogen.
oh gosh.
I think Raven sums it up. It's bad trolling.
Yeah.
I don't think this person, whether or not he's still listening, anonymous angel, I truly don't believe, like what you're saying, Jasmine, that this is what he wanted to do with his life. That when he was growing up, he told his mom, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go make fun of people, only I'm not really going to make fun of them. What I'm going to do is just quote useless, stuff to them. because I think it's going to save everybody. And then his mom went, Jimmy, I'll be proud of you if you do that. I'll be proud of you if you go and you make fun of people for no good reason. I don't think Jimmy out there. Jimmy, I'm talking to you, Jimmy, anonymous angel. You're better than this. I'm using your phrase. I stole it.
Well, they are. Because what does Jimmy get from that? Like, seriously, what do they actually get from that? This could be a whole discussion in of itself. I want to have, like, Lino in the conversation as well, because it's interesting.
Well,
I feel like he'd have a lot to say on it. But secondary gain. By doing that, how am I meeting my needs? By making 7 trolling accounts and going around being a bloody justice warrior for Jesus, like, how does that actually benefit my life? And for a lot of people, I think it's significance, that they don't get the significance or feeling of self-esteem or achievement or anything in their lives. And so their way to feel needed and to feel like they're doing something that matters is that, which honestly I think they can do better.
For sure. There's got to be something else that they do. Get, got a job or something, go pet a cat.
I mean, those would be better things. But also, if you want to spread the word of God, go do some sermons, like become a minister, like something.
Right.
Do something.
Right. And just
and
like,
we'll respect you more for it.
Absolutely. And I mean, just like a note on implementation, and this is purely, note on implementation. Walking into a room and saying, like, pointing to somebody and going, abomination, you're an abomination. It doesn't work. You've only planted the seed of hate. So, all right.
Yeah.
It's 6:07. Shall we start to wind it down some?
Oh, I suppose. Let me read Morgan's comment quickly.
Yeah.
I think one thing we can do to be better ambassadors is by being visible and showing the joy we can have, and we want the same things as others to live our lives and connect with community.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? Connect with community. Connect on the layers that are deeper than the surface level crap.
Right.
Like, that's why I say when somebody comes to me with those surface level things, it's like eye roll moment. And it's not because it's like, annoying or whatever. It's because it's not relevant. It's not relevant. I'm like, let's have a chat about the self-esteem issues that we've both had in our lives. Let's have a chat about the time where we've both felt angry because somebody has spoken over us and shut us down. Let's talk about the shared experiences, which is what this podcast is all about. Harmony and humanity. There is so much shared experiences across humanity. And I personally think it's much more beneficial to talk about those things and to connect on those things rather than divide.
Totally agree.
Hmm.
So do you want to read the outro then? We don't have
I suppose.
We don't have a poem. Did you write a poem for this?
I didn't. And I'm not as talented as Lino. I can't just write it in 10 seconds while you're talking about something else.
Right. He'll be given an answer, right? And he's writing something down. Anyway, so the thing turns out Sigmund Freud in 1942 or something, and you're like, by the way, I wrote a poem about it. Want to hear it? Here we go. Oh, Siggy, you do. I'm like,
very talented.
How do you do that? I'm finished. Sorry. This is my comedy act there. What?
Yes, I'm just trying to think how the heck he's so talented at that. But anyway, I think that is all from us for this one. We can obviously talk about it for hours, and we would. I think we absolutely would. Goodness me. But we'll end it there. Now, if you have any requests for future topics, please let us know. Leave a comment below. That's the best way to share your thoughts with us. And we might just talk about it next week and shout you out for the idea, which is kind of cool.
Yep.
So thank you for joining the conversation, and we think you're really cool. And I just want to say thank you as well to Raven, right, and Zoe for helping out with the moderation side. Y'all are like on that super quickly, so thank you so much. You're pretty cool as well. And for being here talking about our shared humanity. It actually means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to Amethysta. It means a lot to Lino. So thank you so much for doing that. We are sending you lots of love, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.